Sai atrás! Não!
In the early hours of dawn, as a cold mist crept across the war-torn plains of eastern Ukraine, a combined unit of elite Brazilian and Ukrainian troops launched a meticulously planned assault on heavily fortified Russian trench lines. The air was thick with tension and anticipation. After weeks of reconnaissance and drone surveillance, the operation began under complete radio silence. The sudden eruption of artillery fire shattered the morning calm, signaling the start of a brutal and lightning-fast attack that would leave the battlefield drenched in chaos and smoke. Drone footage captured the haunting beauty and horror of the first strike explosions, illuminating the fog, mud spraying high into the air, and soldiers sprinting through craters left by previous shelling. The first wave of Ukrainian infantry pushed forward with calculated precision, while the Brazilian commandos unleashed devastating bursts from grenade launchers, suppressing Russian firing point. Russian defenders barely had time to react before the front line was engulfed in flames, their communication lines severed in seconds. The alliance between the two nations' elite forces was a masterclass in coordination. The Brazilians, hardened by years of jungle warfare and counter-insurgency operations, adapted flawlessly to the harsh, muddy landscape of the Eastern Front. The Ukrainians, veterans of relentless trench battles since 2022, maneuvered with deadly efficiency. Together, they formed a storm of speed and violence, an unstoppable wave that cut through Russian positions with surgical ferocity. Russian defenders, shocked by the sudden onslaught, scrambled in panic. Machine guns chattered, tracer rounds sliced through the morning haze, and the deafening roar of artillery filled the sky. But it was too late. The attackers had already breached the first defensive line.
Починаємо.
Бамон, потрібна ташка вже.
Все, погнали, начинаем. Да.
Helmet camera footage from the assault teams revealed the sheer intensity of the fighting. Grenades exploded inside bunkers, dirt and shrapnel flying in every direction. Brazilian commandos stormed dugouts with unmatched aggression, while Ukrainian soldiers covered them with suppressive fire. Screams, gunfire, and the pounding of boots echoed through the maze-like trenches, a nightmarish scene of primal warfare that tested every man's resolve.
Давай. Расстрел.
The attackers moved swiftly, guided by small FPV drones feeding live visuals to their commanders. Russian soldiers trapped deeper in the trenches tried to resist, but their defenses collapsed one by one under the relentless assault. As Russian reinforcements attempted to regroup, Ukrainian mortar teams locked onto their coordinates with terrifying accuracy. Explosions tore apart the advancing units before they could even enter the fight. The ground trembled under the weight of the battle. The air stank of cordite and burning fuel as destroyed vehicles smoldered between the trenches. Explosive charges planted by engineers blasted through reinforced bunkers, sending shockwaves that echoed across the steppe. By mid-morning, the Allied troops had captured a wide stretch of Russian fortifications. It was like watching thunder strike, said a Ukrainian commander proudly. The Brazilians fought with unbelievable intensity. They broke through faster than we ever expected. Analysts later confirmed that the operation not only crushed a key Russian trench network, but also opened a new breach point for future counteroffensives.
Сука, горячая.
Сколько служит?
2 недели.
Смотри. Вот так. Извиняй. Я на войне.
Russian state media downplayed the defeat, claiming that foreign mercenaries had been involved, though footage clearly showed official Brazilian insignia. Intelligence sources confirmed the mission was part of a broader multinational training and combat cooperation pact. It signaled a growing international coalition standing beside Ukraine, one that Moscow could no longer ignore.
Движение!
Братан, а то сигнатуры тепловые движутся чи ні?
Головна сигнатура під кустом. Таке ощущення, що вона шевелиться.
Я ж теж оце думаю.
Overhead, Ukrainian FPV drones continued their hunt, swooping down to obliterate the last surviving bunkers. The sky flickered with fiery explosions as Russian ammunition caches detonated, creating shockwaves that rolled across the battlefield. The precision of these strikes left no doubt. This was not just a raid, it was a statement of technological and tactical dominance.
Давай.
Начало заминировано, мы идем.
Чтобы на СПшке движутся. Может на сбросик передать, взбодрить, посмотреть реакцию?
Плюсы.
Наблюдаем сигнатуры начали.
Military experts called the operation a tactical masterpiece, marking a dramatic shift in momentum. The involvement of Brazilian elite forces underscored a growing international unity against Russian aggression. This is no longer just Ukraine's fight, said one defense analyst. It's a global stand for freedom and resistance. Despite the exhaustion, their spirits burned bright, two nations bound by courage, standing together on the front line of history. The joint flag fluttered above the wreckage, a silent promise that the fight for Ukraine's freedom and global justice would not end here.